Oh, we are live.
Are we? Hello.
Yeah.
Hi there, everyone. Sorry, I'm eating Haagen-Dazs.
You're eating Haagen-Dazs. I'm yelling about internet companies. Daniel's
I'm in
trying to
black
get
and
on
white.
Twitch.
Yeah,
We are on Twitch. We are
Daniel.
back.
Daniel's in the Batcave. I'm in like an old detective movie, and Alex is just throwing himself in his bedroom because he's so sad.
Yeah, I feel really bad. Not gonna lie.
First off, if you are still here with us, thank you very, very much. We know last stream and this one, if we can call today's stream, has been a mess. Though, trust me, we are trying to fix it. We will fix it, and we'll have this off the ground. But today, for the rest of this stream, we're going to do a mini version of the podcast. Because as the title of this channel suggests, we are the 2-in-1 podcast, and that's what we do. And guys, well, how else do we open this besides saying that the World Juniors are in full force? Canada is taking on Russia right now, actually, in their pre-tournament game. It's 0-0 through the second. Canada just whipped on another power play. But guys, World Juniors in the air. How are we feeling, Alex?
Other than the fact that my internet's been interesting, I feel pretty. I'm happy hockey's back. It's been a while.
Has it? Yes.
Okay.
Kind of. Yeah.
Here's the thing. It ended. When did the season end? October?
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly felt like half a year.
You know what's funny? When it ended, remember when we had that temptation to say, man, we got to bring back Bizarre Adventures?
Yeah. I wonder how many people in chat know what that means when we mentioned that.
So Bizarre Adventures are when we started doing random TV movie reviews. That was a fun time, though.
Yeah.
That was when
the
uncertainties of COVID, which there are a lot of uncertainties still, but in terms of what the leagues were going to do. I remember when we thought nothing was coming back, but we got to review Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
We did.
You know what? You two... Sorry, Alex, but you two... You kind of set something up here perfectly. Alex, you're happy that hockey is back.
Yeah.
Daniel has talked about uncertainty. There's been a flood of news in the NHL, actually, today especially. Some signings which we can get to later. But the big news is the schedule came out. What's funny about that is we don't actually still know where a lot of teams are playing, including the Canadian teams, which is a mess. I mean, honestly, the Canadians don't even have a home game till the end of January, but we don't even know if they're going to the Bell Center. The Canadians are in Toronto to open the season, January 13th. We don't know if we're going to be in Scotiabank Arena. So it's a very, I don't know how to feel. I was excited, but bringing myself, down to earth a bit, I don't really know what to expect over the next few weeks.
A lot of science talk.
Yeah. I can't wait to, sanitizing this part of the room in 20-minute intervals, and it won't be fun.
A lot of things that we don't really understand. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Before we move forward, I'd just like to say I hope everything is well with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets. The Rockets, right now, we don't know all the details, but things are going to bit inconclusive right now, but they don't have the NBA limit of 8 players to play their game today, their season opener, so that's postponed. I think it has to do with COVID tests, but just hoping all is well with that.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
A sign of things to come. Hopefully the NHL looks at this and kind of knows how to move around this. I know it's going to be a long season for both leagues, but again, like we said, the uncertainties of COVID.
And I guess just to speak on that, and I think it's something we've actually talked about a whole lot on the podcast, is there's a lot lies on the players. And I know it's a weird thing to say, but there are rules to follow, right? Like the leagues have designed these rules for their safety, whether you agree with them or not. These are the rules that the league, the provinces, the states have decided to run by. And I think it's important to remember that if they do not run by them, it will be shut down. Like, I don't think Doug Ford, I don't think the premier of Quebec, I don't think the Premier of BC care about the NHL?
No.
No, they have a province to look after.
Right.
And I mean, one day it's the one barbecue place that's not closing down. The next day it's a COVID out thing at a school. I mean, it is. You know what? Guys with carbon fiber sticks shooting little pieces of metal at each other, rubber, sorry, at each other, they don't matter. But you know what? It does to a certain extent to us. Talking about the schedule, though, the Canadians and the Leafs, the two teams we really care about on this show, they will face each other 10 times this upcoming season, including 3 straight times to end the year. You talk about rivalries? Hello there.
Feels
Especially
like baseball.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
You're the big baseball guy, aren't you? So you
With
must
my
feel
Raptors
pretty-
hat. Yeah.
Yeah, with the T-Rex in the background, the Joker card. But beside that, well, the Battle of Alberta, my dear God, we're gonna get that a bunch this season. I believe also there will be a 3-game series towards the end of the season with the Leafs and the Oilers. Say what you want about the Oilers, Alex, but seeing McDavid and Matthews go head to head,
Yes.
oh, that must be yummy. Like this Haagen-Dazs.
Hopefully we'll get that product placement.
That was straight product placement.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Green Powerade. It's the best one.
I'm going to take
So
a
the
sip
thing
of my
is,
Nestle
Adam,
water.
The thing is, we couldn't actually see it that it was green because you're black and white. So
That is a very, very good point. That's a
Like
very, very
in
good
old
point.
movies, it's like, let's drink this blue water. How do you know it's blue?
is water blue? What
Is it?
Did I just blow your mind?
No, it's
I might
clear.
have.
Yeah, I used the
What's
clear pencil crayon when I was a kid.
Oh my God. Anyway, of all the schedules and the new divisions that we've seen, do you two have a maybe a favorite or like a rivalry you're really looking forward to? Like we've talked about the fact that Colorado and Vegas are in the division now and they're going to play each other a bunch of times. Do you have any other rivalries that you guys are looking forward to? Starting with you, Batman. I mean, Daniel.
I think I've mentioned it before, and I think I'm just gonna keep it with the whole regionalism thing of what I really grew up with. So that's the Battle of Ontario between Ottawa and Toronto. Seeing more of that. That the Sens are still not gonna be the best. They're still gonna be a rebuilding team, but there's hope there. There's competition there. There's the talent that's developing there, and then the Leafs are where they at, where they want to win now, but it's still going to be exciting. It's not going to just be those lopsided kind of games that we've seen in the past. And a big thing for me now too is, and this goes from my EA Sports nostalgia of the old NHL games, but I remember when the commentary would be different when it was Montreal against Toronto, when they would hype it up where it's the battle between French and English Canada, and I want to see that again. I love that there's going to be 10 games between them, because I kind of feel that when the Sens became a contender in the mid 2000s, it moved away from that whole thing between Montreal and Toronto, but like historically that's been the biggest thing, and I'm happy that that's going to be back, especially the way the Canadians have been built in this offseason.
Yeah, heavy. There's going to be a fun mix of Montreal as you have their speed that they have, and they've added a lot of toughness and grit to the back end. Yeah, and not to mention the Sens, who always played the Canadians very well. And not to mention at the center of all that, Brady Tkachuk. Alex, what about you? Rivalries you're looking forward to?
I hope this isn't cheesy, and I know it's extremely biased, but I feel like I have to pick Toronto and Montreal because I was thinking about it today, and I was having a conversation with someone about the Canadian division. In the Canadian division, there is a lot of young up and coming teams who play a very similar style. Fast, offensive paced. But there's one team in there who kind of breaks the mold a little bit. They're young, kind of. They have up and coming rookies, but they have grit, they have veterans, and that's Montreal. Mm-hmm. And I think, in my opinion, they are going to be the Leafs' toughest challenge in that division, because the Oilers, what are the Oilers? The Oilers are fast, offensive team.
And without their best defenseman for the season.
Right. The Jets, fast, offensive team. The Sens, okay, we'll move on. The Canucks, fast, offensive team. The Flames, okay. Like, I still think, you lost Brody. We don't know if Hamannik's coming back. Obviously, there's interest from both the Canucks and the Flames, but fast, offensive team. Kind of. Montreal's the outlier here. Like, yes, they are fast. They are fat. They have fast guys. They can play a fast-paced game, but they're different. And I think that's why Montreal and Toronto's gonna be really good, because it's gonna push Toronto to the limits.
There's that balance there on Montreal that I think, we've talked about before, Adam, when, we first met, about that whole putting guys where they shouldn't be in the lineup. But now suddenly you see on those wings that there's going to be a lot more competition. There's going to be a lot more push for these guys to want to get those minutes, because these guys want to play on the top six.
Yeah. Your competition's a really, really good point. I remember not that long ago, it was David Desharnais in the top six. Now it's honestly going to be Suzuki and Kotkaniemi out for Philip Deneau's spot. Paul Byron's going to be a vet looking at all these young guys coming in. He's going to be fighting for a spot. Of course, as well, Deneau and Tatar need new contracts. And those are two very important players in Montreal. They're going to be fighting and playing hard. It's definitely going to be a great 10 games between those two teams. I'm going to go to the West here. And I mentioned it, but I'll just say it because you guys know I am the biggest fan of Nathan MacKinnon on this podcast.
What?
There was I think it was either Pete Blackburn or Dmitry Filipovic said that it is so not fair that Colorado is in the same division as Arizona, because Arizona are going to get destroyed. McKinnon's going 100 points in the shortened season because he gets to go against Arizona. It's going to be a bloodbath, and I am so ready for it. Especially games, I hope that they both use their retro jerseys at the same time, and we get the Nordiques versus like that nice purple Kachina.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. While we're still kind of on Canadian stuff, we mentioned it. Oscar Klefbom is officially ruled out for the season. He'll be back for the 2021-2022 season, but this is the worst case scenario for the Oilers. Honestly, without him on the back end, yeah, you got Darnell Nurse. You got Tyson Barrie, but this is the backbone of the Oilers defense. That is just God, Alex. Just out of here.
And they don't have Ethan Bear signed.
Nope.
Their big addition to their defense was Tyson Barrie. And I mean, we all watch Toronto games, right? Do I really? Yes. I'm not. And I want to be clear, because I feel like every time we talk about Tyson Barrie, it's so negative. It's not that Tyson Barrie isn't a good player. Like, if you go back and listen to the podcast, I think when he first got traded to Toronto, I was excited because I think he's the type of guy that fits the system, but he didn't fit Mike Babcock's system and where he wanted him to play. And I don't want to blame it on Mike Babcock. It's not what Toronto needed. It was clear they needed TJ Brody. They didn't get him, and now they got him.
Yeah. And that was not lack of trying. That was Kadri stopped that deal from actually happening.
Right.
Unfortunately, which is, his trade protection, his right as well. We're not mad at
He earned
Kadri.
it.
No.
Yeah, he obviously did. But Daniel, you're going on here too, because if there's sir, to send it to you, I mean, the Oilers, if they needed anything, we go on about wingers. But if Cassian works out with McDavid, great. You can figure it out for now. That's duct tape. But missing out on one of that team's top 6 defensemen, it's almost a death sentence.
You know what's funny? When you mentioned the defenseman, you never said Adam Larson.
And there's a few reasons for that.
He's a decent player, but yeah, big thing. I think that when we think about the Oilers, we think of their defense. We think Oscar Klefbom, and I think Darnell Nurse is a bit underrated as well. But at the same time, like it's a what do I say? Like it's a setup where it already had a lot of holes there. It already was something that you need to kind of improve on it when healthy, when everyone is signed. And now like suddenly they're gonna start the season. Maybe they're gonna get Ethan Bear signed before all of this. I think there's a desperation now to do this, but to not have Oscar Klefbom, like who is really your best defenseman that you've developed over the years, like that is just something where when we think on the Oilers, where they want to keep making that next step in the McDavid Draisaitl era, it's just I don't see they've done much to really move forward. And I've commented them on getting Kyle Turris, but that's not enough.
Just sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but we do think about Adam Larson, Daniel. Just not the reason that you think.
Yeah.
Just remember. Sorry for the sound. It's my chair.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's the chair.
I thought it was your cat.
No. It's the chair. Remember when he got traded for Taylor Hall 1-for-1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, actually, because I was crying that Subban had just been traded.
So Adam's like, nothing else matters.
That was the most eventful hour. Think about this. That is the most eventful hour in NHL history.
Yeah.
That's nothing in the NBA.
No,
that's nothing.
That's Thursday in the NBA.
Yeah.
Again,
Like, right.
how little the NHL is. Let's remember.
That trade's kind of worked out for Montreal, but it still hurts to think back of that day. It really does. Though there have been some signings today. Talk about Ethan Bear. There has been word the insider trading guys were talking about. Guys like Dubois and Barzell, it's expected that they're, with the season sort of looking like that we are coming back, that those negotiations are picking up. I figure to say that might probably happen with Ethan Bear. Though with signings, of course, we focus on the Leafs, we focus on the Habs. The Canadians made a signing today. I did not see it coming. They signed former Flame and Buffalo Sabre Mikhail Frolik to a 1-year, $750,000 contract. He is most likely, looking at the depth chart, a 13th, 14th forward. And what the Canadians get here is a smart player and a penalty killer, and not much else, to be honest here.
Question, because I saw the signing this morning, and I'm like, is he gonna be in your starting lineup, or is he taxi squad?
I think he's a scratch. I don't know if he's, because
Yes.
do we have because we were going to record a little later, do all of us have our taxi squad projections or no?
I can come up for the Leafs. I can come up with it.
Okay, come up with it.
All right. Because because for those of you who don't know, on my YouTube channel, I did a video today where I kind of predicted what Montreal's roster was going to look like, their lines.
Mm-hmm.
And so for like my taxi squad, if I can just quickly find where the hell I put it, like I had guys like my scratch guys were like Mete, Jordan Wheel, and then I had Frolik out of there, right? Because like looking at the guys who else Montreal could bring in, forward wise, it's Ryan Poehling or like Alex Belzile, or you go down to a guy like Joseph Blandisi. So I think depth wise, he's not going to be in the starting lineup at all. I don't think so. So he's much more of a I think he's I don't know if he's taxi squad, but I could see him being, you know what, you have that opening night roster and there's the guys on the bench and it's like, yeah, I'm here too. Yeah, that's all he's gonna be, I think.
Right. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. But it was weird, Daniel. I don't know what your first reaction. Mine was like, oh, okay. Mikhail Frolik, I'll take it.
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah. I actually like the signing. Getting to know him, not know him personally, getting to know him throughout the years in his career, where he was drafted as a pretty solid scorer when the Panthers took him 10th overall in 2006, and he didn't really have that expectation when he got traded to Chicago for Jack Skilly. But what I liked about Frolik was he adapted his game. He became like one of Chicago's best penalty killers for 2 of their cup runs, and he gets paid in Calgary and then he goes to the Sabres and he's been decent, for $750,000. Like that's a pretty good signing I think that Montreal can make. He's probably going to be in the taxi squad, but I would feel comfortable if he gets onto that right side. I know that he was drafted as a center. He's played it previously, so he's that type of guy that you could really fit him anywhere. Or even if he's in like the second line, exigent circumstance, I'm still comfortable with Michael Frolik being there.
It also speaks wonders to what the Canadians' depth is like all of a sudden at forward, that he might have been in the top 6 if an injury happened last year. But nowadays it's like, no, he's a fourth liner. And the center point is good because this would be Jake Evans' first sort of full year as a chance. So behind him, all of a sudden, there is Jordan Wheel, who will be able to play the wing as well. Not starting lineup, I don't think, but Frolik will be there as well. He is... I've always, when I looked at Frolik, I was like, I always had this sort of spark in my head because there was the stuff about how he didn't like being played the way he was utilized in Calgary. And then he got sent to Buffalo, and it's like, well, how do I know how good this guy is? He plays in Buffalo. They're garbage. What do
Remember
I do
the good
here?
years in Chicago.
By the way, it's funny you mentioned that. You always look for connections. Mark Bergevin was assistant GM in Chicago for Frolik. So that's probably the sort of connection there. He probably has some guys where he knows what this guy's about. And apparently he actually spends a lot of time in Quebec, does Mikhail Frolik. So that's a little thing you like to see there. Your boy, Mackenzie Blackwood, Alex, has extended.
There we go.
In New Jersey, a 3-year deal with an AAV of 2.8 that's worth $8.4 million. A really good piece of business for the Devils.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I read the press release. And I read contract of 8.4. I go, holy crap, that's a lot of money. I didn't realize that was his total contract until I read further.
He's like him, just not that much.
0.4.
New Jersey has to hit the cap floor.
Are you guys insane?
Hey, you like him, but good for New Jersey because he is one of the sole bright spots that team had last year.
They must have watched the first video because I think we signed him to a 3-year contract. So.
Yeah,
I think
they're watching our stream to know like, okay, what is the actual like dollar value for these guys?
Yeah, then they tuned in this week and they're like, what's going on?
We're just talking about it. We're visualizing it. We're not actually playing it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I just noticed that Daniel's background actually has I can see Batman. I don't know if that's Alfred or one of the Robins. I think it's Alfred. But that's cool. But do you have a word on Blackwood, Alex? You're his biggest fan.
I really like that deal for team and for player. I think we've looked at his stats how many times, especially the last 2 years. Like even in 18-19, he played 23 games. He still had a .918 save percentage. Like it's not like the guy was awful or bad. Like you look at the team in front of him, like sorry, like that's not a great team. Like we all thought it was going to be, myself included, but it didn't turn out to be. Obviously, PK is not the same PK that he was. Nikita Gusev maybe wasn't as impactful as we all thought he was going to be. So it's unfortunate, but I think for the team wise, I think he'll still be an RFA. Yeah, he'll still be an RFA once he expires. So they'll still have his rights. And Corey Crawford's going to be part of this team, I think, for the next at least 2 years. He signed a 2-year deal. That's great for him.
Yeah.
I know it's still too early to say, based on the numbers, that he is Martin Brodeur 2.0. I know you guys were going to talk about it.
Let's calm down here.
What I liked about it was I really liked the signing. He has the World Junior pedigree that we've always touted. And he's a guy that, bright spot for New Jersey that, they finally get a goalie. Well, I mean, Corey Schneider was kind of thrown to the fire in his prime, but, the Devils finally develop a goalie for like the first time since like the 1990 draft when they took Brodeur 20th overall. Like, I cannot think of any other goalie. I mean, right. I guess Scott Clemenson. Remember him throughout the years? No. But other than that, like, it's a pretty great time for the Devils where they could finally say, like, we potentially have a goalie for the future. And, we're not just going to throw him into the fire. Corey, like what you said, Corey Crawford for those 2 years, that's a guy that such a solid signing that, again, it's unfortunate it didn't work out for Henrik Lundqvist, and we wish him the best. But those were the two goalie signings that I felt that those were perfect fits for those veteran free agents.
And I think I gave Corey Crawford a lot of crap for him in Chicago, but like he did put up some pretty decent numbers for playing behind what he had to play behind.
He was doing his best when
right.
Like he was a big part of the Oilers losing. At the same time, the Oilers kind of did it themselves. And Crawford was trying his damnedest against Vegas, but Chicago were just so clearly outmatched. Minnesota do a pair of signings. They bring back Mikael Granlund, $3.7 million.
Nashville.
You mean Nashville?
Who did I say? Minnesota?
You said Minnesota, yeah.
I'm thinking they brought him back. No, Nashville brings him back. Mikael Granlund, 1 year, 3.75 in this economy is really good. They also bring in a pair of center/right wingers for a team that need top six center, and that is the red flag. They also bring in Erik Haula, 1 year, 1.75. Alex, what do you make of this pair of signings for the immortally mediocre Nashville Predators?
I like both. What was the thing with this team is their offense. Clearly their defense was spectacular. Their goaltending, UC Saros had an off year. They draft the man, the myth, the legend himself, Yaroslav Askarov, who's currently playing for Team Russia.
Currently is not allowed to goal either.
There we go.
Game.
That's how it's done from Yaroslav Askarov. They needed to add something. They lost Granlund a couple of years ago when they traded him, right? Mike?
Which one?
No, they lost him this year. I'm wrong.
Yeah, they
Kevin
lost him
Fiala.
for a few months. Yeah.
They lost him for a few months, but they lost him and then they brought him back.
Yeah,
which I guess is a good thing. And they needed a center. I know Granlund's not technically always played center, but he can. Erik Haula is a center, which is good. Like he's not a top six center, unfortunately, but they can't clearly get a top six center because they've tried too many times.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it funny, Daniel, that I would not be surprised if either of these two players had a career year above Duchesne or Johansson?
Yeah,
I mean that because you guys know I've sung the praises of Granlund before on this podcast. I love his two-way game, but it's also, Daniel, it's a hit to Vegas because they were rumored to have wanted to bring Haula back.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising. Before I get to those two signings, by the way, I have some breaking news.
I know what you're gonna break.
The Anaheim Ducks have re-signed Ryan Miller to a 1 year contract worth $1 million in base salary.
They did it. They brought him back.
Well, it makes sense because something we haven't mentioned. I think we forgot to bring this up last episode, actually. Because teams are required to carry 3 goalies with them this season.
Mm-hmm.
One will be in the taxi squad, obviously. And it was going to open up a lot of their jobs. So it makes sense they brought Ryan Miller back.
I think Jimmy Howard might have a job this year.
Yes. Let's go.
The guy
Before I get to Nashville, the only thing it was pretty good because, Lucas Dahl still, one of their number one goalie prospects is developing into, really one of the best goalie prospects. And I didn't want them to rush him based on the projections of how the taxi squad was, because the Ducks have been really kind of doing nothing when it comes to signing. So, the fact that Ryan Miller's back and they don't only have to just use Anthony Stolarz behind John Gibson I'm pretty confident with that. But yes, now moving on to Nashville, I think it was great. I think the fact that they gave up Kevin Fiala to Mikael Granlund was something that, you had to either trade the guy or bring him back because that's such a huge loss of value right there. I think these two signings instills confidence in Nashville. We looked at them where they said, we thought about Pekka Rinne, where it's the end of the road for this squad, and to bring back Granlund and to bring someone like Erik Haula, who is someone that, hypothetically would be added to a contending team, means that they're confident in rolling it back, and not just because financially they have to, but the fact that they're not going to tear it down. They still have confidence in a lot of their signings, a lot of their forwards, and what their defense provides.
don't you think they have to run it back? Like
Yeah.
when you have a defense like that, and look at Minnesota. Like Minnesota's in a awful situation because they have a really good decor. Like yes, Ryan Suter's not. He's on the back end of his career, but he's still a decent defenseman. Dumba, Brodin. I know I'm missing a guy.
Brad Hunt.
Right, like they.
Oh, Jake Spurgeon.
Jared Spurgeon, yeah. Like they have these guys who are pretty good, and they're trying to be bad.
Yeah,
are they? I don't know.
We think they're trying. Yeah. Like they've made moves that it seems like they're trying to be bad. Whereas Nashville's in a situation where they've been trying to be good. You spend 64 million on Ryan Johansson. You spend like 48 on Matt Duchene, if I can do math correctly in my head. You have to, like, you just signed Roman Josi to a contract extension. Ekholm's going to be up in 2 years. If you get to a point Ekholm's not re-signing, and I think they just signed Ryan Ellis too, like, what do you do? Like, you're very stuck in that situation where you have multiple defensemen, quality defensemen, not stuck. They're signed to long-term deals.
And no one,
like the LA Kings.
Yeah. How many people are Yossi's incredible, but how many people are willing to take that deal? Right?
It's the same with Pietrangelo. That's going to be awful on the back end of it.
I am fascinated to know what the league is going to look like in 5 years with some of these contracts.
With no increase in salary cap.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. I didn't think of that. Yeah. That's worse. No compliance buyouts are going to happen. It's rough, but if there's one team that's going to navigate it, it's the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, somehow.
Just to speak on, just to quickly, Robida Island's is going to become more than just an island. Might become a country.
Yeah,
might become a country.
A fully functioning team by that point.
So over the past few days, Tampa Bay have re-signed Jan Ruta, Eric Cerdak, Matthew Joseph, and Alexander Volkov. And we all wondered, all right, cool. So how in the world are you, and the question we've been asking, how are you going to do Anthony Cirelli? Well,
magic.
When a player who is 2 years removed from an MVP goes down for hip injury like Nikita Kucherov is and will miss the entirety of the season, that's how. We found out today, Tampa Bay Lightning GM Julien Brisebois confirmed that Kucherov will not play in the regular season with an injury. And coincidentally, not long afterwards, a report came out that they are finalizing a deal with one of the best two-way centermen in the league, Anthony Cirelli. Now,
fourth in Selke voting.
We will make it clear right now. We are not saying Tampa Bay went out to Kucherov and said, you're sitting out the season, because the guy had 120 points a few years ago. And knowing Stamkos' history, they could be out without the both of them. I know Stamkos is set to be ready for the season, but it's Stamkos. We're going to throw that out the way. And not to mention the division they're in, I think Tampa are going to be fine. And in where we have so many back-to-backs and so many single-day breaks, Tampa Bay are going to have a fresh Nikita Kucherov for the playoffs. And it is terrifying.
Yeah.
They did it.
They did it. Yeah. We don't know how they were going to do it, but they did it.
How does he keep getting away with it?
Magic. Not the Orlando Magic, literal magic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Not Magic Johnson?
Not Magic Johnson.
Okay.
Not, I don't know. Is there any other magic I'm missing?
Kareem, Magic Beans.
Magic Beans. Not Magic Beans from
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Harry, you're a magician. Or you're a wizard. What am I saying? I got the reference wrong.
Not
Harry
Magic
Potter.
School Bus. Not the Magic School Bus either.
What? I don't know. He's doing something. I can't figure it out.
Plus the fact that he's been able to get these guys. Like, you imagine if we were playing GM mode and we put someone like Tyler Johnson on waivers.
Someone would claim him.
He would demand a trade.
Yeah, like Dennis Gurianov did in our test run, bastard.
okay. In Toronto, we seem to think Brandon Pridham is top of the top with salary cap manipulation. And I bet he's great. I
Yeah.
bet he's fantastic.
Helped write it.
You think he's a nice
He
guy?
helped write it. He's a nice guy. Great
Yeah,
guy.
okay.
I don't know who they have in Tampa Bay or what's going on in
I'm
Tampa.
I'm checking.
Above Brandon Pridham because they've managed to figure it out. Like we thought Toronto, in my opinion, I thought Toronto was going to have a horrendous issue trying to figure out how to deal with this. Tampa Bay is in a whole heap of garbage trying to figure this out. And it's not going to get any better.
No.
Like the salary cap's not going up. And they still have these guys who are very good players. Like, let's not forget Tyler Johnson, Yanni Gourde, Andre Palat, Alex Killorn. These guys are good players. But, man, that cap hit is screwing them.
A lot of loyalty signings there. The
Yeah.
one thing I think about is amazing, by the way, for them. We'll just cherish this moment now and just look at the fact that they were able to kind of get through this where, this was the biggest story of the Stanley Cup finals about what they're going to do afterwards. This reminded me of the Blackhawks when they won 2010 and, they went on a shopping spree. Well, not really shopping spree. They just sold off half their team to get under the cap. And I thought that was going to be the same reality too. But what I kind of think about is like, and maybe this is a cynical view, but like what's going to happen the next time, this happens or the next time where these things start to pile up, when, suddenly we can't put someone like a cap hit of Nikita Kucherov on IR.
No. By the way, these are some of the management members of the executive staff of Tampa Bay. You have JP Cote, or maybe it's Cote, who is the director of player development. Director of hockey ops is Mathieu Daché, maybe? That might be the guy, because then you have player personnel, amateur scouting, director of player development. That, or it's Julien Brisebois, who, let us not forget, the guy who ran the Hamilton Bulldogs when they won the Calder Cup, aka when he used to work for the Montreal Canadiens. God damn it! Guys, French too. They would have loved.
They are geniuses. That's all I can say.
Gosh, why is Mike?
And also too, like I'm astounded the fact that they got these players to not really like to buy into this. They're like, listen, we're in a bind. We want to win. You're a young guy, and they're still giving them these contracts where, really like anyone could have like, remember we had that idea that we thought people were going to offer sheet them, and we were looking at those insane numbers.
Then we forgot the NHL's boring.
So 3 points. Hold on a minute. 3 point. Yeah, boring. So I was going to say 3.7 for Granlund, 1.7 for Howla. Put that together, Tampa Bay are going to be in trouble. But no, you're right. They're boring. And David Poile, I wonder when he goes, because he has been in that role for a very long time.
If they miss the playoffs this year. That's my guess, my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say they are almost $7 million over the cap? That is with Nikita Kucherov on IR.
Okay, funny story here. Alex, have you or Daniel, have you guys listened to the new episode of 31 Thoughts yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I am so behind on podcasts.
So they were talking about Jeff Merrick, Elliot Friedman of Sportsnet. Elliot Friedman, one of the most well-connected men in hockey. So Friedman mentioned something really, really funny. Liked my shoes, remember that, Alex?
Yeah.
He said that there was whispers that there was going to be a trade between Tampa and Detroit. Get ready for this. Detroit obviously would take Tyler Johnson. And do you know what Tampa Bay would have taken back or will take back if this supposed trade happens? The dead contract of Henrik Zetterberg.
Wow.
Which I heard that and I could not stop laughing. Because of course Yzerman is going to pull this stuff.
Wait. Is he still on the Bucks?
I'm double checking, but that's what Friedman's saying.
I mean, I believe him. I didn't even.
One more year at 6.083.
Wow.
333.
Oh my God.
$6 million. Yeah, one more year.
I did not know that. That makes sense. He's still in the NHL game. He's on free
Yeah, he
agency.
is.
Yeah,
He is.
after 1 year. Okay.
Yeah. So, yep. That's how they're gonna pull it off.
Our
How
boy's
about
still in the game technically.
yeah? How about we actually wait and do the taxi squad so we can actually get some good thought into it instead of just
All right.
coming up.
Oh, I already came up with mine.
Yeah,
But
but
that's okay.
let's just,
Okay,
we'll
it's
hold
okay.
up. We'll
It's
hold
okay,
up.
it's okay.
We're
And
too
then
excited.
maybe-
We'll spread out the content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our episode on Sunday, we can devote the rest of the week for getting ready for the World Juniors,
Yep.
and then we can do a nice deep dive after all these pre-tournament games are done. Plus, then Canada will have had their game against Germany, so we can do that. So
Okay.
if you're looking forward to that, watch next episode. Thank you for everyone in the Twitch chat who has decided to come out today. We really appreciate it and sticking with us. We hope you have a very Merry Christmas, New Year's, or any sort of holiday that you're celebrating right now. Happy holidays.
Mhm.
We all appreciate. We all love this time of year, don't we? And
Sometimes.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you're in line at the Tim Hortons, offer to pay for the person behind you. I don't know.
It's just another product
Canada-
placement.
No, it's not.
You
I
didn't say
wish.
McDonald's or Starbucks
I
or
just-
Dunkin' Donuts.
Hey, Daniel. It's 1-0 Canada, by the way. That's good. I think it was Drysdale because Mike texted us saying
Our boy.
Drysdale, your boy.
No,
Oh.
for this tournament, he's our boy.
Okay.
I do
Alright.
enjoy Jamie Drysdale.
Okay.
Are we done? Is that all you have for hockey?
That's everything. Yeah.
Because there is one thing we still haven't brought up on this podcast.
What's that?
I sent it at 1:30 in the morning because I remembered.
I'm gonna need you to.
Sergio Perez has signed with Red Bull Racing,
Oh, don't give me
and
that.
I am so
Don't
happy.
give me that.
That guy deserves.
Oh,
Okay,
Farewell, Max Verstappen. I know it was kind of hard that
Stop
they had to
it.
make this
Stop it.
decision, but
Stop it.
you
It's
know,
all-
I was surprised by it too.
Listen, I'm all for Alex Albon, and I think he will one day be a great driver. Hopefully, for the in the Red Bull seat.
All right.
At the moment, in my opinion, Red Bull needs a consistent driver who is consistent, and I don't think Alex Albon was that. Like they gave Pierre Gasly so much crap, and Alex Albon did if
he
you're
got more time too. Did
he
Albon.
got he and Alex Albon got a season and a half. Like his first half, the back half of the 19 season, I think Albon was pretty good in the Red Bull seat, and Pierre Gasly was pretty good in the AlphaTauri. And this year, I think Pierre Gasly had a better season than Alex Albon.
Nearly
I
caught
don't
him with
ne-
the points.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily think it should, like, if you just looked at the points, but I think if you look at his performances, I think Pierre Gasly had a better season.
Yeah.
And,
No,
and it's-
what I mean, sorry, is like because like Albon is so clearly in better machinery,
yeah,
and like the fact that Pierre was almost there is incredible.
yeah, and I really think Perez can do what if. I think I've said this on the podcast. If this season will truly show what the issue is with the Red Bull car, the second car, is it the car, or is it their academy?
Are you saying is it man or machine?
The Alman
Yeah.
machine.
Well, because it's going to be extremely suited to Max Verstappen. That's just the reality. The cars, that's how it's going to be. That's the improvements they're going to make based on his recommendations. But you're not going to find another Max Verstappen, right? It's going to be very difficult to find that. So someone's going to have to sit in that car. And I really think Sergio Perez can do wonders, especially going into the last season with no cap restrictions.
Yeah.
Before we go, Adam,
Sorry.
would you like to give your thoughts on this? Because I'd just like to give a farewell to Alex Albon, not Alex here.
Yeah.
But yes, go first.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Around the Outside is what they call. Sorry, let me get closer back to the mic. What they call Alex Albon was Mr. Around the Outside. He is a fun driver to watch. He seems like a very genuine person. And I really do wish that he can get back into that seat. I really do, or just back in Formula One, outside of the realms of a test drive or a reserve driver, which he'll be. Yeah, I'm rooting for him. I really am. Though at the same time, it was criminal that Sergio was not going to have a seat after winning the second last race, having a few podiums, getting robbed of a few podiums because of either his engine blowing out or because of a blown strategy call in Imola. I'm happy for him at the same time. And it's going to be a fun race to watch next year, or for the constructors title. And the fact that if Sergio really wants, he finally has a good chance of going for the drivers title. I mean, Mercedes are probably going to kill it again, but I'm happy. I'm happy for Sergio. I'm happy for Red Bull, and I'm gutted for Albon because he has too much talent not to have a seat. Meanwhile, Nikita Mazepin does have one, and he is go on Twitter and see what's trending right now, and see how Mazepin just has no right. The Russians have tied it up.
It's not even that good.
Oh no,
they have not. Never mind. It's
okay, they have not.
Go ahead, Daniel.
All right. To Alex Albon, the two things that really kind of stuck out to me was, number one, the fact that there was an Asian driver in Formula One. That was something I latched onto so much. And when they did that whole thing in Drive to Survive of his background and everything about, he's such a dedicated Buddhist. He drives a Honda Civic Type R. He was a guy already to me that I got to cheer for this guy. And, through the highs and many lows of his time with the Red Bull, I felt it. I still went for it. I thought of it as a rebuild in a way where, despite the downs, there were many of those, you still go for the guy. And I was cheering for him. I know that he kind of had a longer leash than Pierre Gasly, which his segment, by the way, kind of gutted me in Drive to Survive when they talked about his parents showing all the memorabilia from his childhood of, oh, he's been so passionate about this forever. And then right after that episode, they dropped him.
Just watch the Monza episode when season 3 comes out and we'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. But other than that, I love that Alex Albon was there, but I think such a talented driver. He had a few mistakes here and there. He didn't really push as much as I wanted him to for these tournaments, or for these races, but I think he'll be back. He will be back.
Hey, just be better on the Saturday, and it's going to go miles for him, honestly. That's what he needed, more boring races of just being up there. All right.
So prospect in the system.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's everything, guy.
That is everything.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed the stream, again, thank you for coming out and dealing with the technical difficulties, everyone. Be sure to check out the show's YouTube channel for a visual Well, I guess you actually do see the visual experience on it for once right now. With our great backgrounds.
Yeah.
You love to see it. Be sure to check out the podcast and wherever you do listen to your podcast. If it's on Spotify, follow. If it's on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, do the same thing and leave a 5-star review. Thank you to Voice Sad, as always, for being a fantastic platform for the show. We do not like you, Rogers, because your internet is subpar right now. Go Bell. And unless it's for a job in the future, which I'd be gladly and blessed to work for any company that wants me.
I was going to say, I was about to say something. Let's not get cut off from Sportsnet.
Check out Daniel's, all his work and his writings for various sources. Hopefully soon we can figure out where you're going next semester. Mention that. Check out Alex's
maybe
blog.
we'll have Will Baldwin on the show to announce it. I don't know.
We should do that at
That
some
would
point.
be so funny. Let's do
check
it.
out my YouTube channel for your Habs needs. Again, Alex's blog. And I believe that is everything.
It is.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you for coming out. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all the holidays.